Hey everybody, my name is Josiah Cochran. I'm the youth pastor at Bible Baptist Church of Asheboro, and I'm coming to you today with the devotional for Friday. And just want to say first of all that I'm honored to have been asked to do this. And as for the other local ministers who have come before me, I appreciate your contributions as well to this series. So I'm coming to you live from the backyard where many of us, I think, have found ourselves a little bit more than usual as of late. And I want to talk to you about the reason why that is, which is, of course, the coronavirus. But I don't really want to talk to you so much about the virus itself, because if you're like me, you're kind of sick of hearing about it. I want to talk to you more about your behavior and how it has influenced your behavior. And then I also want to tell you what the scariest thing in the universe is. How's that for a teaser? All right, so first of all, again, as I said, we're in the backyard because this virus has got everybody on lockdown. And the reason it's got everybody on lockdown is because of a four-letter word called fear. And so the question is, how does that influence your behavior? Well, the virus has caused a lot of people to be quite fearful. And fear makes you act in really weird ways. Sometimes crazy ways, sometimes good ways, but a lot of times it will cause you to act very odd. For example, right now somewhere, someone is walking into a store wrapped in trash bags. That's fear causing them to do that. Well, maybe some other things in combination with it, but it's definitely fear. Right now, you can go to the paper goods aisle in Walmart, and it's completely empty. There's no toilet paper. I think we're all aware of that. So all of us have been forced to become, I don't know, some sort of Indiana Jones type pillagers, scavenging for single-ply toilet paper that we would have never bought under any other circumstances. But because of fear, the whole thing has been wiped out. So we have to do that. Fear will make you act in weird ways. So fear, not a good thing all the time, but it's definitely a good thing when it's applied appropriately. For example, fear keeps you on the right side of the road. Fear will make you stop at the stop sign. All good things. Fear keeps your hand away from the hot stove eye. And so when it comes to that sort of thing, there are all sorts of anecdotes that I can tell you, and there's all sorts of wisdom and guidance for people when it comes to the idea of fear. But since I am a Christian, and I'm assuming you are as well, and this is a Christian-based devotional, why don't we see what God says about fear? Now, having said that, I could rattle off 1,000 scriptures to tell you what God says about fear, but I want to show you one today that is maybe a little bit different, maybe a little bit off the wall, which, if you know me, off the wall is kind of on brand. But this one might have you thinking a little bit differently about the Lord, which is really what I want you to do. Ultimately, I'd like you to think a little bit differently about Him, challenge your own thinking. So this will hopefully give you something to go into the weekend with. But the scripture is found in Matthew chapter 10 and verse 28. And I'll actually start at verse 27. It says, "What I tell you in darkness, that speak ye in light, and what ye hear in the ear, that preach ye upon the housetops. And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell." Now, passages like that, a lot of Christians tend to shy away from because they don't quite understand them, or they seem controversial, or they don't really cast God in the light that we're so used to seeing Him cast in. And that is really unfortunate, because when you shy away from passages like that, when scriptures that show you these sides of God that you might not be used to, what you do is you lose the total view of God, the complete view, which is, well, it's what He deserves to have from you. You ought to have the total view of Him, and He tried to give it to you. That's why those things are in the Bible. So, what are the things we like to talk about God the most about is just, the aspects of him that we like the most is his love and his compassion, and him taking care of us and all that sort of thing. But the truth is, if he really is God, and he's totally God, and he's totally in control of everything, then yes, he is love. He doesn't just love, he is love. And while he is love, he has to be other things as well, such as justice, such as vengeance, such as anger. You say, well, that's crazy. How could God be those things? He's supposed to love everyone and just be all love and everything. Well, he's complete. And if you don't have a complete God, you don't really have God. He hates sin. Okay? And you want him to hate sin. He hates sin so much that he sent his own son to die so that you wouldn't have to pay for your sin. He had to hate sin in order to do that. If somebody breaks into my house at night and is going to harm my family, I can't lovingly go after them with a sword. I have to do that somewhat motivated by hatred or just out of defense and protecting my family. So you have to have both sides of God for him to be complete. And that verse says, don't worry about the people who can just kill your body. God's capable of killing both. Again, I know that's kind of weird, but let me illustrate it with a very ridiculous and absurd illustration. And I know that it's absurd, but I'm going into this fully aware of that, okay? So just bear with me for a second. You guys have all seen the movie Shrek, right? There's a scene in Shrek where him and the donkey and the princess, they're all about to go into the woods, the scary woods, enchanted forest, whatever it is. And the princess says, no, there's going to be robbers in there, there's monsters, whatever, and the donkey gets scared, and Shrek turns around and he says, I'm scarier than anything that we're going to run into in this forest. Shrek's an ogre. He's a monster. He's scarier than anything, right? Well, if you're a child of God, and forgive me, Lord, I'm not comparing you to Shrek, but God is scarier than anything that you'll run into. Yes, he loves you, but he's also scary. The scary things in your life are scared of him. That's what I want you to think about this weekend. If you're a child of God, the scariest thing in the universe is your Father, and it just so happens that he loves you, and he'll protect you, and whatever path, whatever forest that he wants to take you down, he will not have you go it alone, and he's stronger and meaner than anything in that forest, and he's on your side. Better yet, you have the opportunity to be on his side. Fear. It's bad, can make you behave irrationally, but it's also good when it's applied appropriately, when it is directed toward the proper thing. Just something to think about. Please have a great weekend. Please stay safe, and hopefully we'll all be back at the Y, pumping iron, or at least acting like we are, as usual. Talk to you later.